The following Let's Play has been rated perfectly fine to watch. Any attempts to break the game are for entertainment value only. However, if any typos happen to be found... Mwahaha! Hello everyone! Welcome back to this game. When we last left off, I bought myself a ship. It cost me 800 gold. It also took me 3 episodes to get the ship. Sometimes I am slightly annoyed by how slow of a Let's Player I am. I mean, I have plenty to say, but I sure take my sweet time getting through everything, and I really don't know what I'm supposed to do to improve that. So, this episode I decided, you know what, I'm not even going to worry about fighting it. I'm just gonna sit here and talk about stuff because I have a certain thing that needs to be discussed, and I have a lot to say about it. And if I tried proceeding through the game and fighting whatever's out there and seeing new stuff, it's going to be way too distracting for me to be able to coherently get out what it is that I want to say. So, yeah, we'll make progress in the next episode. For now, I want to talk about Lantis' method of game overs. Alright, so let's recap. I'm playing a game with a custom battle system, and since Lantis is using a custom battle system, he could not use the default game over system. If you get a game over, he had to do something with that on his own, and basically what happens is you get sent back to the start of the game and have to go through everything all over again. Which sounds bad, but I found out in the last episode that you do get to keep any items and gold you had whenever you died. For example, currently I have 1,241 gold. That's a pretty decent amount, and so I decided that instead of resetting the game, I would just go ahead and accept the game over and go through everything again, because it meant being able to keep my money. And money is actually really important in this game because, once again, Lantis is using a custom battle system in RPG Maker 1, which means he cannot give you experience. He can't keep track of experience points, he can't keep track of stat growth, but he wanted some sort of reason, some sort of incentive for you to actually go and fight everything, and that incentive is money. There are certain points in the game where you actually need to spend money in order to progress through the story. For example, spending 800 gold on a ship. Now then, since you get to keep your items and gold after a game over, that made me wonder, the ship that I bought is also an item, so if I got a game over after getting the ship, do I get to keep the ship and just skip the forest and move out to whatever's out here? Well, the answer is no. As it turns out, your ship is taken away when you get a game over. And that is a problem, because without the ship, I cannot actually go out to sea, because we won't get far without a ship. We should look for Dread Pirate Obvious if we want to leave this island. This is a kind of a remote island, just a group of pirates and my house with some shady guy who's making me pay to sleep in my own bed. But anyway, this basically means that if I want to make progress, I'm going to have to go back into the forest, go through the cutscenes in there again, and buy me another ship, which again costs 800 gold, which would leave me with like 441 gold. Pretty sure. I think my math's right. Sometimes my math is not good, but I'm pretty sure my math is right there. And unfortunately, I ended the last episode with over 600 gold, so I'd be losing out money in that case, which means that in this case, the best choice is not to accept the game over. The best choice is to just reset and load my previous save. So, since the last time, since recording those first few episodes, Lantis has actually explained to me why he has the game over set up like he does. And the reason for that is because, well, when you get a game over normally, the default game over, you're sent back to your previous save with whatever items and money you had at the time. And since Lantis is using a custom game over, he can't actually do that. which means if Lantis actually did allow you to continue from this house and not start the game over, you would find that whatever items you had used up trying to survive that battle that you died on would still be gone. So you'd be missing whatever items you had since your last save. You would not regain them. And his feeling was that people would be kind of unhappy about that, so what he did was make it so you start the game completely over as incentive to reset the game and load from your previous save, because he can't actually do that in the game's programming. You have to do that yourself. And while I can see where he's coming from, I don't agree with it. Like I said, I was willing to go through the game overs and go through the cutscenes that I had to rewatch because it meant I got to keep my money. Even though I would have lost whatever items I had lost or used up since my last save, to me, keeping my money is more important than regaining my items. But because of how Lantis has programmed it, because he was worried that some people might want to reset, he pretty much forces everybody to reset. And that is my problem with this. I would rather lose a few items and keep my money than force myself to reset the game and lose whatever money I had gained since my last save. And unfortunately for me, Lantis was wrong. There actually is a way to keep track of what items you used since your last save. Now, if Lantis had been using the default battle system or actually allowed me to use these items in this menu, then no, he would not be able to keep track of what items I used. But because he's using a custom battle system, he has full control over when I use an item. He knows when I use an item because he's the one that programmed the item usage in. So because of that, there actually is a way to keep track of what items I used since the last save. And I actually put together a demonstration of how he could have done that. So let's assume that I just got a game over. I'm sent back into the house, and Serena, the possessed statue, tells me that, hey, but go ahead and push into the treasure chest to receive your wasted items. Now, let's say that I started out, since my last save, the last time I saved I had like 6 potions and 4, whatever the MP things are called, mana powder or something like that. And since the last time I saved, I used 5 potions and 3 mana powders. That would pretty much leave me with 1 potion and 1 mana powder. But, as you can see here, this is what he could have done. Every time that I would use a potion, Lantis would take away a potion and give me a used potion. And every time I used the mana powder, Lantis would take away the mana powder and give me a used powder. And these 2 items right here would be what would be used to keep track of the fact that I used these. And after the game over, we've got this treasure chest that appears here, and I'm going to go ahead and bump into it real quick. Alright, so I got a little something. What did that do? That makes it so that now I have 2 potions and 4 used potions. Basically, the treasure chest took away one of these used potions and gave me back the potion that I used up. And basically the way that this would work is you would push into the treasure chest, because every time the treasure chest triggers, it would trade out one of these items here for one of these items. So let's go ahead and push into the treasure chest to get all the items I lost since my last save. And there we go. The treasure chest is empty, and we got all of these items back that I had used up. How awesome is that? But of course, these items are supposed to keep track of what items we used since our last save. So we actually need to be able to do that by every time we talk to this guy over here and choose to save, these items would be taken away. So we've used up 5 potions and 3 powders. Let's go ahead and save. Or rather, let's not and say we did. And now, since we've saved, these items are taken away because we've saved. This is keeping track of what items we used up since we last saved, and since we last saved, we haven't used up any items since we last saved. And that is pretty much how that would work. Now, unfortunately, this is not something that Lantis is going to be fixed. I've actually already discussed with Lantis the situation with how I feel about how he handled the game over, and the situation with this treasure chest idea. And basically I'm telling you guys this for food, as food for thought. You know, in case you decide to do something similar. But anyway, Lantis is not going to fix this thing. He's not going to implement this treasure chest idea, and that is because, as I had previously mentioned, Lantis doesn't like RPG Maker 1 anymore. He's working on Arc Aerith along with Sarah's Knight. Those two are working on Arc Aerith together, and Lantis is really disappointed in RPG Maker 1 because so many ideas that he thought would be awesome with Arc Aerith, so many things that he thought he was going to do that most games don't on RPG Maker 1. It turns out that the reason most people don't do those things on RPG Maker 1 is because you actually can't do those things on RPG Maker 1. And so, yeah, he's not a fan of RPG Maker 1 anymore, and he'd rather just focus on Arc Aerith and get that finished, and after Arc Aerith is done, he's never going to touch RPG Maker 1 ever again. He'd probably make something on the PC RPG Makers. But anyway, that is pretty much all I have to say about the game over system. This little change here, I'm not really going to worry about keeping because I actually haven't touched the programming to make it so that this system would work. So, I'm going to have to change strategies. I can't go ahead and accept game overs. I'm going to have to, like... Oops, I forgot, this isn't actually the default map. I created a new map. So, let's go ahead and reload my old game. Basically, what I'm going to have to do... Because of the way this game over system works... That is not what I wanted to load. Because of the way this game... Where am I going? Test play. Continue. Because of the way the game over system works... Lantis encourages playing on test play because resetting the game on test play goes a heck of a lot quicker than if you reset while not on test play, because on test play I can just do this and then I'm back into the game at my last save. If I didn't do this, I would have to reset my PS2, let RPG Maker 2 or 1 let RPG Maker 1 boot up, let Generic Quest 8 boot up, and that is really time consuming. So, test play is recommended because reloading your game save is a lot faster than in this. Not to mention, more importantly, the other reason why he recommends playing in test play is so you can just go to a quick save, and if you like go out into a battle and died, you can be like, nope, that didn't happen, I'm going to go ahead and load back before that last save. And that is pretty much the strategy I'm going to have to follow from now on. After every fight, I'm going to have to use the quick save option. And hopefully that won't screw me over somehow. And that is actually my main concern with this, because using the quick save option, I am going to wind up using items, and I might quick save at an inopportune moment. Now, the quick save is a temporary save, it's just loaded onto memory until you turn off your PlayStation. So the more permanent save, which is at the shady guy in my house, is how I'm gonna really want to save. But the quick save is a nice feature while I'm dungeon exploring. And as I was trying to explain momentarily ago, I don't want to accidentally quick save where at a point where I just can't win, because then, well, I'm going to have to reload from my actual save, which is going to remove whatever money and items I had been gaining or losing since I made this save. Man, that was a rough explanation, but I am hoping that you guys pretty much got the gist of it. Long story short, the game over system is the way it is because Lantis doesn't want me to lose my items, so I have to reset every time I get a game over, or else I lose too much progress. And just so I don't lose too much progress when I reset, I'm going to have to quick save between every battle. And that is that explanation. And the reason why this episode is going to be nothing but this explanation, and why we're not going to make progress until next time, is because this episode is this long. I don't actually know how long this is. You'll just have to take a look at the little timer down there under the screen. Anyway, the explanation is done. Next time, we're going to find out what it is like to use this ship. I'll see you then.